Minasan, konnichiwa. Amber here. Um, if you've seen Reina on Nico Nico, I'm her personal stalker. I've probably been with her. Actually, I have been in with her in her videos on Nico since she started broadcasting English about a little over a year ago, I think. But I haven't been on her broadcast recently because my firewall hates Japanese sites, so it slowed down my Japanese learning. Joy. Um, I already have some questions written down in papers, so I can reference them for this introduction of mine. How did I come to study Japanese? When I think I was in the 7th grade, around 10 at night, there was Inuyasha on TV. I was watching, I'm like, this is a really good anime. Although, when I watched it, it was like 5 episodes to the end of the season. And I'm like, this is a good anime, and I'm listening, and I hear the ending song, and I'm like, I like this ending song, it's very pretty. I looked it up, and it turned out to be Boa Every Heart. I'm like, wow, this is very beautiful. It's a pretty language. And I'm like, Inuyasha's interesting, I think I'll look it up online. I couldn't find any online that were in English. And I'm like, whatever. I looked it up and there was it said English sub. I'm like, sub? What's that? So I watch it, I'm like, okay, English subs. Subs at the bottom, I can read in English. And I'm listening, I'm like, I like this language, it's beautiful. So I ended up becoming interested in Japanese that way. And I'm like, and 7th grade, what year was that? I'll just say I was 17. No, not 17. I was younger than that, 15 or so. And I'm like, this is interesting, I'll learn. I picked up a few words, most common words everybody picks up when they watch anime. Teme, kisama, baka. I'm like, okay, I'm learning. And I watch anime and I'm picking up certain words and I'm like, this is good. And I'm like, I'll look into it more depth. And it's getting more and more confusing. I'm like, I can't understand anything in this anime. I want to watch it without subs eventually. And I gave it a shot without subs off the bat. I'm like, pretty colors, nice action. I'd understand bits and pieces here, but it made absolutely no sense. Train of thought gone. Train of thought returned. Since I started, it was probably a year later that I started going into Japanese and learning. That's when I figured out my grandma was really sick and I needed to start taking care of her. So I'd start learning Japanese when I had time, when I wasn't busy taking care of her, cleaning, schoolwork, homework. And I'm like, I can't do it right now. I've got to postpone this. And once I graduated from school 3 or 4 years ago, I'm like, I'll dive in this head first. Big mistake. Don't dive into it head first. You'll get confused. You'll be swamped with things. You'll see little stars in kanji and hiragana, katakana, Japanese words going all around your head. And you'll be like, I don't understand anything. I don't want to do this anymore. But I already had my mind set on learning, so I'm like, I'll keep at it. I'll be good. This will be awesome. So I went to the libraries and I picked up books that were for learning Japanese. And I'm looking, I'm like, this is a pretty good one. I'd take it home, I'd flip through it, I'm like, this still makes no sense. In my other video, when I showed the 3 basic books I use for studying Japanese. Barron's Japanese Vocabulary, Barron's Japanese Grammar, and Japanese English, English Japanese Dictionary. The Barron's Japanese books are really helpful. They dumbed it down a lot so I can understand it. Hold on. soda. They take it chapter by chapter. In vocabulary, they start out with numbers and shapes, time, days, and all that, and they slowly move into, let's see, communications, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, daily life. What I find really odd about the book is for emergencies, if you need to report one, medical care and all that, it's at the end of the book. I think that should be near the front, or at least close to the front, before maybe daily life, just slip it on in there. Because let's say you go to Japan, speak no Japanese, and you're like, I don't know, you drop your wallet and you can't find it and you want to report it to, I don't know, let's say the police. I don't know how it works in Japan. You'd ask, where's, I don't know, the police center, something, so you can report it. I really don't know. In the back of the book, I find it's not the best place. Yeah, I'm jumping away from the questions. Back on track. Amber, focus. Let's see. I had hardships when starting to learn in Japanese. My grandma, when I started listening to Japanese music, and I'm like, here, Dad, listen to the song. I think it's awesome. It's a really beautiful Japanese song. And my grandma, she's kind of old-fashioned. She'd be like, why are you listening to that music? For all you know, they could be saying, death to America, bomb America. I'm like, I know some Japanese, it's not like that. And she took her a while to understand that I wanted to learn Japanese, and once I started learning it more and more, she started like, oh, these songs don't mean this, because I explained the song to her. My dad, when I dived in when I dived head first into the Japanese the first time, he's like, why are you studying Japanese? You know, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can study. You don't have to be just on Asians. Why don't you do Italian, this. I'm like, I can only focus on one thing at a time. Sure, I want to learn the other languages I want to learn. Latin, Italian. I was going to learn German with my brother. And I'm like, I can only focus on one at a time. I've tried learning two at once. Didn't work. It took him maybe 2 weeks to understand that, and he'd start trying to sit next to me and learn with me, and then he stopped trying to learn altogether for some reason. I'm like, okay, I can focus, but why aren't you here with me? About 3 or 4 months ago, he'd say, hey, now I want to learn Japanese too. I feel like you've learned a lot more now that you could actually start teaching me and I'd be able to learn better. I'm like, so that's why you did that. My brother wants to learn too, but I'm trying to figure out how to teach them, because they learn differently than I do, and they learn differently from each other, so everybody learns in a different way. I'm trying to figure out the best way to teach them in the way that they can remember it. But my mom's probably still the only one who's kind of iffy about me learning Japanese, but I got the support of my brother and my dad. My mom supports me a little bit, but she's still I still have a feeling that she's not fully supporting me in learning, but since I feel her support a little bit, I'm like, okay, I get the support of my family in trying to learn this language by myself. Why do I want to learn Japanese? Because I think it's a good language. I think I covered that in the first part when I drifted off topic a little bit. Actually, I hope to go to Japan someday. I'm not sure when. Maybe to visit if I like if I like it enough while I'm there. Maybe visit longer. If I still like it, maybe move. I don't know. I just think Japan compared to America, where I am, they have a certain respect for each other, and they keep their opinions to themselves. They won't come up to you, as far as I know, they won't come up to you and say, wow, I think your clothes are awful, where the hell do you shop, blah 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 blah. And it's like, they have a respect for you, and if I go out on the street and I'm wearing, I don't know, let's say something that's an all-in scene. Somebody will be like, huh, looks like Halloween's come early this year. I'm like, really? That's the best you can come up with? Everybody has a different style in clothes. I just happen to live in a neighborhood where nobody has respect for each other. I'll be blunt, every guy around here is like a douchebag or you can't trust them, and every girl looks like she's sleeping around with the whole neighborhood. Didn't want to say it, but that's the way I feel. What's given me a headache in the process of learning Japanese? I don't think anything's really given me a headache. I think the most problematic part of me learning Japanese is the few days where all Japanese just randomly poof is gone from my mind, and I'm like, I do language exchange through email with a few people, and I'm like, okay, I'll reply to this email, and as soon as I open up the email, I'm like, kanji, what's this? I don't understand any of this. And my head just goes, ugh, not today. So I'm like, I'll go back tomorrow. Tomorrow, I still don't know Japanese. I was like, really? Come on. I need to reply to this email. I hate making people wait. And eventually it comes back, but not as soon as I bite. I think that's the only problem that gives me a headache in the process. I think that's about it. With me learning Japanese, I was terrified to make mistakes when I first started learning. I'm like, everything has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, they can't understand me. It has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. And that was probably the thing I was stressing most about. And I'm like, perfect, 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 perfect. Then I realized, years later, I'm like, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as I can get what I'm trying to say across, and if I inform them that, hey, could you please correct my Japanese if it is wrong, I think that's alright. I mean, I sent a document to Rana, I think it was 2 days, of how to count different objects in Japanese. Like, let's see, there was books, notes, bound objects like that, long, thin objects, buildings, animals, blah, 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 blah. And I sent it to her, and I'm like, okay, I'm not confident about all these, but here, Raina, please look at these, and if there's anything that needs correction, please make corrections. I came back, and a whole bunch were wrong. Oh, hold up. Sorry about the random stop. My dad needed something. Where was I? Yeah. I got it back, and there is a whole bunch of wrong things, like for counting. I always got not always, most of the time 7 was wrong. Like counting, I used shichi instead of nana. When it came to 6, I forgot to change anything that had an H to a P. It was confusing, but I got the proper way back. Proper readings, writings. I got it back with corrections. I'm writing them up, and I will upload the video of the cards with the ones that I had right, what was wrong, what she said. Here are the ones that are wrong, but you can go back and fix these, or give it a shot and fix it. And I send them back, and if I had it wrong, she sent back with the corrections for it. So I will write them down, and I will upload them so people know that in the middle of a language, if you're learning it, it's alright to make mistakes. That's the only way you will learn. You don't have to be perfect. I think that's to wrap it up. You don't have to be perfect when learning a language. Voice crack. Alright. That's my sloppy introduction. Maybe later I'll do another one that's tidied up. Alright. Bye bye.